Hello everyone and welcome back to Run It Up number 92. We are here today with three of a kind. Yes, that's right. Very first hand, I literally just clicked min raise and hit record. Next thing I knew, here we are, three of a kind. How sweet is that? So we are playing a $100 buy-in tournament on UltimatePoker.com. This is the Sunday $100 buy-in, 20K, 10K guaranteed, 10K guaranteed, as the lobby does say. Kind of a sad turn card here for us because the guy in the small blind is the one who defended on the flop, so ace should be kind of scary for him. I don't want to bet a ton, but I also don't want to give him too good of a price to keep drawing if he has a hand like 2 diamonds or 6-4, something like that. Calls very quickly. Pretty good turn and river card for us. We lose to deuce 4, king queen, and other very weird creative hands. So let's bet a lot. I think we're going to put him on a hand strength that's like queen jack, something like that. So let's see if we can't get paid for like 3K. I think he could put us on something that's just trying to bluff, or, you know, like we've said before last week, there are many different elements of his hands that are just not calling anything. So I think we're just not going to get paid a pretty good percentage of the time there when he just doesn't have like anything good. The hands he would call with pre, out of position, check call flop, check call turn, and then check call river. There's not a lot of them. They're hands that are probably going to call pretty large amounts, generally speaking, all in all. So, how was your weekend? I had a very nice weekend. Every 2 or 3 weeks, I need a day where I just talk to 0 people. And I had that on Saturday. It wasn't quite 0, but it was very low. The ideal day would be 0. It was probably closer to like 5. But still, that's pretty sweet. Also, on tap for this week, a very exciting thing. As I mentioned last week, I have in my possession right here 52 tickets. That's right, to UFC 169 Saturday, February 1st in New Jersey. That's right, beautiful Newark. I'll be doing a thing that allows you guys to win these beautiful little babies here, and I'll be going, of course, with the rest of you Run It Up Warriors. All you have to do to win, stay tuned, and I will have some cool things that you'll do. I have lots of different ideas for how to give these away. The only requirement on your part is you have to just get to Jersey, and I will hand you the tickets. That's right. That's all you got to do. The rest of it is, well, I guess you have to also figure out where you're staying in Jersey, all that other stuff. But if you get yourself to Jersey on Saturday, February 1st, and you've won these tickets, that's all you got to do. I'll just hand them to you, and we'll go from there. So they're not transferable, can't give them to a friend. If you live in Poland, you can try to win, but you need to show up in Jersey on Saturday, February 1st for me to actually hand you the tickets. So that's the only restriction. You have to be realistically high % chance to come down, and we'll get more into how exactly we're going to give those tickets away later on today. Hey, you know what? I'll just tell you right now. So this week, basically, I'm giving them away on my whim. So it's whatever tickles my fancy, as always here on Run It Up, truly. But this week is going to be creative week. Send me poems, pictures, songs, things like that. And by doing so, you'll be agreeing to allow me to share them on Facebook, so and wherever else I should so please. So if you're interested and you want to win 2 sweet tickets, that's right. Every winner is a pair, so you can bring your significant other who may or may not be a Run It Up Warrior yet. And what are we going to do here? Raise or call, raise or check, I should just say. All right, let's check. I'll play my hand passively and weakly, sure. Otherwise, we make it like 750, 1 calls, low flop, we bet. It could be fine, but I think I'm okay with checking here sometimes as well against guys we have never seen before in our lives. Certainly not going to fold, though. We have ace and the queen. What are we supposed to do? Check fold to the cat avatar who bets third pot? I don't think so. Let's be real, people. Off to the turn card we go. Pretty brick city there. Brick city, bitch. Check and check is a good sign. Jack of spades, a card that should not significantly improve my opponent. I guess there's a chance our opponent will fold better hands than ours. Is that true, though? Will they fold like 3s and deuces if we bet here? Yeah, I mean, I guess that's possible. I guess we'll just check and then not fold. I think we win here often enough that I didn't really see a reason to bluff. I would be beyond shocked if he folded a hand that good to us, so I think we actually lost the minimum there. I mean, there's just no way. How could he have folded that good of a hand to us? That would have just been crazy talk. Crazy talk. That's right. They're running off spin up coming soon to a YouTube near you. Crazy Talk with J Carver. What's on your mind? It's like the Chris Weidman's dad impression meets the Nerd Rage impression. Oh yeah, def calling here. 5 deuce suited against the guy who didn't raise 8s the last hand against the limp from Go Kick Rocks. I like that name, and the name Avatar combo suits very well. Go Kick Rocks. Sure. How you guys like my orange shirt today? I don't really know how I feel about it, to be honest. I kind of like it. I feel like I'm chilling out, kind of, sort of. It's Sunday. Very relaxed Sunday. Go Kick Rocks decided to lead out here, and we're certainly not folding. Look at all the things we have here. So many good turn cards for us. 4 spades, dealer. Less suitable than the 4 of spades is the 9 of clubs, but it's possible we have the best hand, although I don't think that's particularly likely. And I believe our adventure this hand is probably coming to an end rather quickly. Oh, yes. Rather quickly indeed. Go Kick Rocks says, "Get out of here. Go kick some rocks." Bitch. All right, sure. So yeah, send me some creative creations. DearJCarver@gmail.com. I will present them on the show, put them on Facebook. I have so many tickets, I don't really know what to do with myself. So if you want to come hang out in Jersey with me and all the other running up warriors, all you have to do to win right now for this week. And don't worry if you're not creative or you're a fan but you just don't you can't make anything fun or creative. Don't worry, you'll have plenty of other chances to win. We'll do something that's a little bit less creative next week, and then I'll just open it up to however you can convince me based on how many tickets I have left at the end. So we called here pre-flop with ace-jack offsuit, and I'm going to bet now because, hey, maybe we have the best hand, and hey, maybe he'll fold a better hand. And, yeah, that's pretty much my feelings about that. I would imagine we have the best hand more often than we do not have the best hand, just because we have ace and jack. How do we not have the best hand? He raised, he checked, we have to bet. I don't think there's too much to say about that. So yeah. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much that for the tickets thing. I'm really excited about that. There'll be a bunch of cool things if you live in Jersey. There'll be a bunch of cool things happening the week before UFC 169. I'll be in Jersey. I'll be hanging around, floating around, doing cool things. So if you live in Jersey, stay tuned to your Twitters and Facebooks. And J Carver's coming to town. It's like Santa a month late. Typical J Carver, trying to one-up Santa, late to the party as always too. Fucking bitch. That's right. Wow, we're really sweary today. It's sweary Sundays over here at Team Run It Up, apparently. We called him min-raise, made top pair. That's pretty sweet. I'm a little concerned that this guy has us beat, but we can't fold yet. If he just bombs the turn, I'll be concerned. I'll be very concerned. I'm already very concerned because it was like limp, min-raise, now he's bombing it, and this guy is calling too. I certainly am a little concerned. Let's see what happens here. If it checks to us, well, I suppose that would be the best thing that could happen. At this point, I mean, is it possible we have the best hand? Yeah, it's possible, but I'm certainly not going to put 11,000 chips in here because I'm pretty sure that one of these two players probably has this beat. This is a thing you see pretty often with a guy who just has, like, king, queen, and doesn't know what to do with himself, so he's just like, oh, I'm all in. That's a very close impression, actually, to how I feel like you probably decided on the turn there. Herf derf, I'm all in. I don't know what else to do. I bet all my chips. Get out of here with your worst hands. Hey, mission successful, bruh. That's right. I committed to the full pound at that time. I haven't always committed to the full pound before. I do the half pound, the quarter pound, But this time I committed. I did the full, it gave you the full pound. That's right. Do you dig it? Oh, yeah. I love the Monday videos more than any other day because over the weekend I have time to wander mentally, see a bunch of different things and absorb a bunch of different content in different worlds. I feel like I have so much more to say on Monday than I do on Friday. By Friday, I'm like, listen, I need a couple days to refresh here, people. But Monday, I have the world of things to say. Over the weekend, I began my quest to watch all of the old UFC events over on I did my panic that I wasn't recording as usual. I started my quest to rewatch all the old UFC events, starting from UFC 1, which I really began, I guess, a few weeks ago. But when UFC Fight Pass was announced and they said they're gonna have all the old UFC fights, I said, well, now is the time. I had seen the first 4 UFC events prior to the last couple days, but I pretty much started at UFC 5 and went from there. Boy, I'm really loving it. Actually, it's obviously bizarre in a lot of ways. Very bizarre in some, but it's awesome. I'm really enjoying it. I had never seen most of these UFC fights before, only little flashes here and there. I'm at UFC 13, or I think I'm at UFC 13 now. Joe Rogan is on his 3rd show. Bruce Buffer is starting to become a thing that is a regular. Randy Couture just made his debut. Tito Ortiz won as an alternate to get into the lightweight tournament under 200 pounds. Lost to Guy Metzger in the finals. So, yeah, I'm learning a lot here. I'm actually really enjoying it. You can actually join me if you go to UFC.tv, and then somewhere in there is Fight Pass. You can watch all the old UFC events as well. Lots of other cool UFC stuff, so you should go check that out if you have not already. They're also running live events on there, so our brothers over at UFC, that's right, cousins, perhaps. All right, cousins over at UFC have this cool thing going on. You should go check that out if you're a UFC fan at all. And, yeah, I guess that's that. Oh, I forgot to say, because on Thursday, Friday, we did the time warp to the $500 buy-in, $1 million guarantee final table, which you haven't seen. You should go check that out. That was a cool little thing. I did a throwback. I reviewed a final table that I made back in 2007, I believe. And you should go check that out. $200K for the winner. Who wins? Don't ask me. I don't know. Yeah, so there's that. And what were we talking about before then? Oh, right, because you guys didn't know because we didn't talk on Friday. But I made it to gold last week. Yes, that's right. Finally made it to gold. I'm actually in promos for the next level of gold, to be honest, in gold 4. I guess we fold here. Nah, let's call. I think this is actually a totally acceptable way to play this hand. I think folding or raising or folding is usually what I would do here, but in a $100 buy-in tournament, I think this will be totally fine. Obviously, it's not working out this time all too well for us, but hey, it happens. I think this is a totally acceptable way to play this hand every once in a while, and just didn't work out this time for us. Hey, at least the cat avatar did it too. We were in the cage with the cat avatar, right where we belong. Am I right, people? Yeah, I'm right. So yeah, made it to gold. Very excited about that. I've been trying for a long time. If you guys know, I've been trying since a long time. Finally made it. Took me 5 or 4 promotion matches to get in there. But we did it. We did it eventually, sort of, kind of. Oh, yeah. Kick rocks under the gun here, trying to steal us with his little 450, but it's not going to work. We have king n5 of the same color. This might work though. The second ninja says no, thank you, and is coming in there for a re-raise. And I suppose we are just folding. So what would you do here if you would go kick rocks? Apparently you would call. I was going to give a whole big explanation. Oh, and the Briz doesn't want any of this either. So they're all calling. You know, you would think when you have 6,000 chips and you have to either put in 2,000 or not, you would either just be all in or you wouldn't be. But it looks like Go Kick Rocks has found his own path to success. You know what? Whatever makes you happy, Go Kick Rocks. You decide to play your hand any way you like. I do what I want. I could have done that a little bit better, I think. But, I just threw it together. Don't be too harsh over there, you know? Don't be too harsh. Not only, by the way, I'm going to say this so I commit to doing it so it actually happens, because I've been thinking about doing it for a couple times now, but it hasn't actually all come together. But I'm going to try my best to, while we're in Jersey, to do the Jersey tour of things prior to the UFC 169. At some point, either that week or the week after. You guys have asked me many times, my Long Island brothers, sisters, cousins, etc. You guys have asked me to do something in Long Island for the fans. So yes, we will be doing some sort of an event in Long Island. That's right. So all you Long Island fans that have wanted to hang out, this will be your opportunity. End of January. By the way, we'll be folding pocket threes here in case you were wondering. So close to having pocket fours, but so far. So yeah, not only will we be doing cool things in Jersey, and maybe a couple. There might be an event in New York City, but I don't think so. Honestly, if I'm gonna be in New York City, I might as well go to Long Island. And at that point, But yeah, I think we'll be in Jersey the last week of January, and then I'll be in New York probably after that for maybe like a day or two, and we'll do one of those days. We'll do something cool over somewhere in Long Island. So lots of cool things coming up for our East Coast friends. And don't worry, rest of world, I haven't forgotten about you. Oh, it looks like our table has just been decimated down to 5. As I guess a new table has been started. For the kids. Okay. Repopulating us with new players. All right, sure. So right now there are currently 116 players. We'll be on break in 13 minutes because I started at 6:30 because I can't start things on time ever in my life. And yeah, hopefully we'll win. 3K for first. Wouldn't that be sweet? We could run it up for once. That would be nice. I feel like we haven't won a tournament in a long time. It's been brutal. Boy, this guy is just, it's going to be the lotto to see who can pick up a hand good enough to contest against Dabriz. Against a guy like that, all you can really do is get a good hand and then call, and then hope you win. Tips from the pros. How do you beat guys that go all in all the time? Well, call, and then win. Very breaking news here from J Carver. Hope you're enjoying this breaking news stuff. So, a lot of tournament stuff coming up, but I actually think this will be an awesome week of videos. I feel refreshed, empowered. I think we'll do our multi-tabling video sometime this week, even if I have to play for a couple hours, record it, and then do commentary later. The only issue with that is that I can't use this software to record multiple tables, or at least I can't figure out how. I can only pick one screen at a time with this, so I have to use XSplit, I guess, or I don't know. I don't know really what the deal is with all that, but I was gonna, and then there were too many problems, so I just did one table. So hopefully that is not a thing that, I mean, it'll be fine. I'll figure it out some way or another. Oh, 2 queens, eh? I like 2 queens' chances here. Sorry, queen and 8. You tried hard. You made it to 2 pair status, but not good enough. GG Ramble. Why is this camera so high? I don't know. You gotta see the deep V-neck. Should we try calling again? That worked out so well for us last time. We could try raising. I guess we'll just fold. Disciplined poker. Disciplined poker. This is the monologue that I hear every time I have a hand in poker. I'm like, can I raise this hand? Can I? How can I play this hand right now profitably? And then I always try to there's stages of grief as I try to realize I have to fold. I try to bargain with myself, and then there's anger and denial somewhere in there, and then eventually I just accept it and fold. Sometimes. Rarely. Most of the time I just say, fuck it, and raise. You guys know what that's like. Oh. Well, that was a really good fold. How do you guys like my Chrome tab here? Really not much to see. Not even very controversial. Jason. Hey. That's my name. All right. Don't have to edit that out. I'm always worried that there could be some scary tab that could pop up, but I don't think I have any scary tabs even open right now. There's not even too many things I would be super scared about. I'm more scared of passwords, things like that. Chat rooms, things of that nature, but yeah, it'll be fine. That's how I feel these days about pretty much everything. What's the worst that could happen? It'll be fine. So in addition to watching a bunch of UFC this weekend and playing lots of League of Legends this weekend, both of which I did quite extensively. I mean, I watched 7 UFC events if I went from 5 to 12 or 5 to 13. So quite a lot of UFC events. CES was in town this last week, which didn't mean anything to me except for the fact that a bunch of friends were also in town. So I got to see them, which was nice. But I also got to watch a documentary about being happy called Happy, I believe. I believe. And I thought it was really interesting there were a bunch of things it talked about, obviously, but there was one particular concept that I found to be particularly interesting. And we did make it the pair status, so I will talk about this hand a little bit. I think I'm going to actually start with the lead here, not something that I do all the time, but I think actually is cool to incorporate once in a while, and I think Go Kick Rocks is a good candidate for this treatment, because I feel like if we check, he's not the type to really bluff, and I'm more afraid that he bets, and then we're in kind of a weird spot, and I think for the kids, it might give us a little bit of respect, because we just bet into two people here. He doesn't really know who we are. She's got a really nice crown over there. Maybe she'll just say... you know, I don't want her to just say you got it if we have the best hand necessarily, but I at least thought that it would create the best opportunities for value and the least amount of mistakes for us to be had. I couldn't wrap up that sentence, unfortunately. I guess we just fold now. We could have the best hand, but if we do, it's probably not by very much. Queen 10, hearts, etc. have us all in pretty bad shape. And, yeah. So we're up 36 chips. Ballin'. But so I was watching this documentary on happiness, and I found it pretty interesting. But the most interesting concept, and they only talked about it briefly, was this concept of the hedonistic treadmill, and basically the concept of wherever you are right now in life, assuming that you can meet your basic needs of living, you know, you can eat and you have shelter and you know, all that stuff, that once you hit that level of survival being covered, that anything after that, pretty much you're basically just on a quest for more, and it never ends. It's a treadmill. You're always that society, especially American society, is very much based on, or encourages, I should say, American society encourages this pursuit of capital gains, and that you're always constantly trying to get the next thing, get a fancy car, get a nicer bunch of clothes, a nicer house, a nicer this, nicer that. And they said that, I forget how many years ago it was, but I think it was 50 years ago, people were much less wealthy. America is much less wealthy on the whole than it is these days. It's like 4 times or 2 times more wealthy these days, but happiness is pretty much even. So it didn't really seem like that was the right thing to do, generally speaking. And that when they surveyed people that made $50,000, and there wasn't that big of a difference in happiness between the guys that made $50K, I assume, a year, and $50 million a year, which makes sense inherently. But just some interesting questions I think it brought up in my mind generally about, for me personally, like some of my life goals. And I think I'm very guilty of riding that hedonistic treadmill where, you know, you always think you'll be happier with just that one little bit more, but turns out you get whatever that thing is and it's not that great and you just want the next thing anyway. And I don't know. I've really thought a lot about my long-term life goals and what would make me happy, and what you know, balancing the desire to have a family and the desire to be successful. And I don't know, it just presented a bunch of conundrums in my head that I haven't really solved, but I found it really interesting. If you want to see it, it was free on Amazon Prime. That's right, cheap J Carver only watches the free documentaries on Amazon Prime. Okay, I'm gonna fold against the guy who's been really aggressive in the big blind. So yeah, you can check that out. I'm pretty sure it's just happy. It's like a cloud with a face. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it if you're interested, but I thought it was pretty interesting. We're going to start a J Carver documentary club, I think. We can all watch a documentary every week, and then we can get together and talk about it. We can call it Crazy Talk. That's what our show's going to be. That's right. It all ties back together to Crazy Talk. The next version of Run It Up. CRAZYTAWK. We might have made a flush, and the guy is bombing it. Fuckers. Well, that's sad. King and 9. Certainly going to play this if it folds to us. I mean, I guess I could fold, but how? That seems like a poor decision. We have King and 9, and no one's really like, you know, it's not like Phil Ivey is sitting behind us over here. Okay, interesting flop. I think I'm going to start with a bet and make some decisions after that. I think I'd rather bet than check, because if we check and it goes check, first of all, our hand looks pretty weak, and I'd rather have our hand look pretty strong than look pretty weak. And I'm afraid of it going check, turn as a club, turn as a jack, turn as a queen, turn as an ace. Lots of sad things can happen. And when we check, we kind of say, hey, our hand is probably not that good. And guess what? Our hand's not that good. But when we bet, we can have all of our flushes, we can have sets, we can have lots of scary things. So I'd rather just say, I'll bet and put you in the cage rather than check and put ourselves in the cage. I've been reading a lot of these hand histories that you guys have been posting on my wall, facebook.com/J Carver Poker, if you want to hang out with us over on Facebook. That's right, we can be e-friends. The board says so you know it's true. People have been posting hands on my wall all the time lately, and I've been perplexed often by the hands sometimes. Disciplined fold. Disciplined fold. I think a lot of the times you guys do things to yourselves and then don't understand why you're in the cage. Well, you did it to yourselves. A lot of the time. That's what you did. There was a hand posted before, and it was a very commonly played hand. Like, I don't think that the warrior that played the hand this way and is like significantly playing it differently or worse than the average player at that stake limit would play it. And I think it's actually a mistake you'll see guys making in lots of higher stakes than that. But there was a post. And there was a post in like the cutoff or something, and then button called. So it was like 25 cents and the post, you know, and then there goes Lotto again. So it was post and then call, and then our hero in the small blind raised to 5x with 6-8 offsuit, and the poster folds and the caller and the button calls. You're embarking on a journey. You guys like that? You're embarking. Huh? You're embarking on a journey here that you're not going to enjoy. I'm just telling you. Like, I understand the brain concepts you're thinking here. You're thinking to yourself, fuck this guy. He just posted. He's got any 2 cards. I'm going to race and take it with my 8-6 offsuit. Yeah, that's great and sweet and all, except for the fact that the button is going to likely notice what you're doing and have the position to do something about it, and the correct response to you is to click the call button, much like we're going to do right here with our 10 and 6. So your opponent is likely going to just click the call button, and then you'll be out of position playing a bigger pot with 8-6 offsuit against the button. I already said that, out of position. Hey, if this guy calls, I'm definitely on that 8 hunt, because I think if we drill the old 8 ball, then we'll be looking good against this guy on a lot of turns, even though the price is not great. But looks like our friend over there is still accumulating. Still on them's accumulatins. Yep. But yeah, so all you did there in this spot, you correctly identified that the guy is weak. However, you're incorrectly identifying you can do anything about it. Now, if you're on the button, then maybe you can do something about it because you can raise, you're in position, you know, then it's a little bit different of a story. But you already have a fairly inferior hand, and you have the worst position. So not only does the poster have to fold, but the poster and the button have to fold. Otherwise, you're out of position with 8-6 offsuit, which is worse than the hand that the poster is going to show up with. You know? So you have to kind of think about what you're actually trying to, like, you know, there is a little bit of value. This guy, you know, there's information here, right? You've correctly identified that this guy has any 2 cards because he just posted. You're right about that. But the way you can exploit this is not going to be from the small blind with 8-6 offsuit. You can identify this and you can say, is this a spot that makes this spot good enough to be aggressive? Because let's say this guy just clicks call. If this guy just clicks call and it folds to us with 8-6 offsuit in the small blind against the limp in the button, are we going to raise there to $1.25? Probably this person would have said no, in which case then you're telling me that because the guy posted and didn't limp, that you think that's enough of a mathematical change to make that good enough to be a raise? It's not really. It's, I don't know about that. Anyway, and then the hand proceeded on in another weird way where we flopped 2 pair, and then we bet and just called, and a whole bunch of different ways. That actually also put us in the cage in another way. We were talking about that. I'll talk about pocket jacks first, if we recall, if we can go back to it. Let's see. I would love for Debriz to enter this pot here because we've got pocket jacks. So that would be sweet. I like Go Kick Rocks. You guys can't see it, but Go Kick Rocks is mad. Min raise 500. Okay, 500. Works every time but the last time. I will get you. That's what he said. I'm not even kidding. That's word for word what he said. They make it too easy. They make it too easy. Anyway, we're on 5-minute break. I will see you guys back in 5 minutes. Not even 5 minutes for you. It'll be like nothing passed at all. All right. We are back. Queen and 10 starting us off here. 150, 300 are the blinds. So we probably are not going to fold this. Hopefully the Briz calls and then does something silly. And hopefully we have something good. That's what we're hoping for at this moment. Call. Queen and 10. First hand right back after break. You guys didn't miss a thing. So don't think we know anybody before this video at all, which is a weird thing. Don't think that's ever happened before in latent, yes. In recent run-up history, I don't think we've had that for a long time. Go kick rocks, time's out. Well, we've got position, boys. Let's see a flop. Dollar. Not exactly the best of flops for queen and 10, but if it checks to us, I will bet. Because why not? That's the truth, kids. When in doubt, bet. If there's ever one thing you've learned from running up episodes, that's the thing that can take you farthest in poker, I promise you. When you don't know what to do, bet 2/3 of the pot. It can't ever be that bad. It can't ever be that bad. Let's see what the Briz decides to do here. He says, I'll enter fold. This time I'll just fold. All right, sure. All right. Next hand here. I guess my general plan is going to be to play pretty tight. I mean, we're going to want to accumulate a little bit before it hits 200 to 400 if we can help it. But there's not like a ton of great opportunities for us. We're going to try to play a little bit tighter because this guy's been kind of wild. But none of the other players have really been crazy at all. So we're going to watch the new guys, see if there's anybody that's doing anything particularly bad. And we'll see how the Briz does here against the Briz, does here with his little limp call pre-flop. I bet. 300. Sure. How does For the Kids feel about that? I just call. Okay. So my analysis of this hand is that For the Kids, okay. I guess my analysis is going to be completely rendered irrelevant because either he has an overpair or he doesn't. You would think that when he just calls flop that he's likely to be slightly weaker than stronger. But, you know, if I had 2 sevens, I wouldn't be folding on this turn card, obviously. And I would just call on the flop. So the Briz is weaving his way in and out of the cages. Quite dastardly, I might point out. Yeah, very dastardly. What's the definition of dastardly? I feel like the definition of dastardly is like, before I look it up, I mean, obviously I know what dastardly I know what the word feels like, but if you ask me for like an exact definition, kind of like, you're a bit of like a bold scoundrel. You know? Alright, how does that work out? Wicked and cruel. Okay, I was pretty close. Synonyms. Fiendish. Fiendish. Very close to scoundrelous. Monstrous. Abominable. Alright, that's a little rude. Degenerate. Okay. Some dastardly, I would say he is doing, I wouldn't say, alright, I wouldn't say some of these things about this guy, but he's definitely, abominable degenerate. That's sure. That's a thing. Alright, Go Kick Rocks gets it done. One for the leprechauns. Alright, off to Underground +1 we go. I guess we're just folding. So, you guys have asked me in the past to do Dear J Carvers without using paper. And I've mostly told you guys to get the fuck out of here with that shit. Because I like the physical, you know, it's a thing. I like that. But I've got them here and I didn't print them out beforehand. So I figured, hey, let's read some internet Dear J Carvers, and that way you can see why I hate doing it this way. But I've never done it before, so maybe it's great. I don't know. I'm willing to try it. So the most recent Dear J Carver email, I can just open it right now. There's no randomness in this. That's part of the problem. I have to actually click and pick. So okay, let's look at this one here. It's too many words. I can't. See, I'm already feeling I hate it. I can't do it. I have to click one at a time and then mark as unread, or do I mark it as read? I can't do it. I did one and I can't even do it. It's like, you know. All right, I'll try one more. I'll try one more. And then I'll hate it and never do it again. Dear J Carver, first, I want to thank you for your awesome videos. Thank you. Lots of words. I appreciate that. Thank you for watching. It's true. Without you watching, I wouldn't talk. So, thank you. My question has to do with whether or not I should continue to play poker. I'd like to think I know a good deal about poker. I've read books, watched videos, and watched poker all the time, but haven't had any results at all. Would it be best to just move on to something else in life? I've already lost a decent amount of money in poker, and sometimes I think people are just naturally better poker players than others, despite how someone might research. It's also difficult to get better as an American citizen with no legal online poker available to sharpen my skills. Thanks again. Run it up, bitch. Steven from Colorado. Well, thanks, Steven from Colorado. Mile High State. That's right. So I would tell you a couple of things here. So thing number one I would tell you. That's right. I'm getting ready to tell you some things. That's how you know, because I'm doing this. I'm getting my things together to share with you. Or I'm pedaling on a wheel. And I'm a hamster. But one or the other, get ready for it. Also, get ready for us to defend here at 5-3 offsuit, because there's antes, bitch. Oh, look at this price we're getting. We're getting like 400 to 1 with 5-3 offsuit. Oh, ruined the party. Ruined the party. Fucking cat avatars, bro. So, here's what I would tell you. Thing number one. We popped a gush shot. Not too bad. Thing number one that I would tell you is, if you play poker and enjoy playing poker, you enjoy the challenge, the mental aspect of it, you enjoy the schemings and the thinkings and such, then whether you win or not, I think that's cool. It's a hobby. It's a passion. It's something that develops your mind and expands your brain in interesting ways and challenges you in some cool ways. Whether you're winning or losing, if that's true and you really are enjoying it, then what does it matter? Winning is almost like inconsequential. And I would tell you just to play smaller to the point where it doesn't really make a huge difference. So, like, you know, I don't want any of my run-up warriors out there losing, you know, millions of dollars a year, or, you know, anything even anything even proportionally like that. So if you're playing and losing tons, well, there may be other things you can do. Like, you know, you can probably try moving down in stakes, playing sit and goes maybe instead of cash, or, you know, there are things you can do to mitigate your losses a little bit more, play more home games. I mean, there none of these are great, I'm gonna point out, but so we limped pre-flop and then tried to bet on the flop. I have a feeling our opponent is going to be pretty pair heavy here. I mean, there's no reason to suspect that this guy's just got like 8-9 offsuit and is like, I'm gonna fuck this guy. I'm gonna fuck this guy up. I mean, you know, there's no reason to suspect that this guy's just in there just trying to put us in the cage for no reason, and our king high could be good, but I don't think it's that good. I don't think there's any reason to suspect why go kick rocks would be in there. Super, super light. We do beat Jack 10, but there's not much else that makes a lot of sense. So, the first thing I would tell you is if you're loving poker, then it doesn't make a difference, really, whether you win or lose. Like, I think I'm a lifetime loser at Magic, only because you can't really win at Magic, but I've put however much money I've put into Magic the Gathering lifetime, and the reason why I think it's okay is because I enjoy it, and that's how you should spend your time, on things you enjoy. So, if the fact that you're losing money is making you not enjoy poker, then do something else, right? I think that makes sense. That's how I've always looked at life and things, or at least in the last like few years. And the person that actually first inspired me to really think in terms of like happiness and enjoyment is Lucky Chewy. Actually, I was playing a ton of StarCraft years ago, like 5 years ago maybe. I was playing a ton of StarCraft, and I was at a table in London with Dan O'Brien, Lucky Chewy, Chris Moneymaker, Negreanu. It was actually a pretty sick table in London, and I was talking to Chewy, and Chewy was like, what have you been up to lately? And I was like, I'm playing a lot of StarCraft, and this is actually how I met Dan, because Dan also was a big StarCraft player. And Dan was like, oh, really? I hadn't known Dan before then, but we actually started talking. But Lucky Chewy and I, once Dan stopped interrupting, which was very rare, Lucky Chewy and I talked about I was playing StarCraft, and I was like, yeah, but I kind of feel bad about it. I'm spending way too much time playing these days. And Lucky Chewy looks at me and goes, but are you enjoying it? And I was like, yeah. Yeah. And his response was, well, what else is time for? I was like, oh my God. Lucky Chewy, you're amazing. And it's a true story, 100%, unedited, real, true, real rap for the kids at home. And it kind of blew my mind a little bit, but he was right. And I've really tried to identify when I'm not enjoying myself and then do other things. Because that way, you don't get too much time to spend on things, lifetime. So I've really tried to make sure that I'm spending it in ways that I am enjoying. Yeah. So what was my point on all of this stuff? Oh, yeah. We're talking about the Dear J Carver. I don't have it in my hand, so I don't know. I've lost complete track. I'm tilted. I'm going to call with King, Queen, 9 of clubs. Okay. I think we have just barely enough that I can call here okay and not feel too bad about it. These guys have been relatively quiet behind me, so I'm not anticipating anybody being too aggressive, and hopefully we can go 2 or 3 ways to the flop. This worked out pretty well for us, all in all. Continuing to work out well for us because we made it to top per status. If our opponent bets, I'm pretty sure we're just all in. Listen, our opponent could definitely have his beat here. I guess we could also try calling, but there are so many scary turn cards for us, and, well, our opponent did bet in this board, which is kind of scary in and of itself. All right, let's just call and see a turn card. That's a pretty good one for us, and certainly means we can't fold on anything. And I actually think that we're going to bet kind of small here and then see what he does. I think there's definitely a chance he'll fold better than us, right? Of course he'll fold better than us. How does he not fold 2 kings here or something like that? That would be kind of crazy not to. Our opponent decides to call. Okay, so if we bet, is he going to call us with worse? If he has 2 pair, he might. If he has 2 pair, he might not though, because really the bet size would make here is 3 or 4K, and he could have a 7. So I think I'm actually going to just check. And we also preserve 6K if we're somehow behind. So, all right. I thought he would fold that on the turn. Decided not to. We got there anyway. No big deal. No big deal. I'm really glad we just called flop though and avoided putting ourselves in the cage and having to get there. We just called and avoided that. Did you guys like this? That's right. Little matrix moves. Matrix moves Monday. That's right. No, it's definitely not that. It's dastardly tournament poker is what today is. That's right. Wicked and cruel. That is right. Oh, you guys are missing the chat. Hold on. Should I perform it first before I let you guys do it? All right. This is a 2-person play between Martini Time and Go Kick Rocks. Notice that I don't really know what the other person is saying. Sentence. All right. We'll open this, I suppose, and go from there. 7 1/4. All right, 7 1/4. So, Cat Avatar says, "Nice catch." Go Kick Rock says, "Well, you let him, JS." Whatever JS means. Is it me? Are you saying JS for me? I don't know what that means. Is it my initials? I don't know what you're saying. And then Cat Avatar says, "Tough board to bet." And then Go Kick Rock says, I'm going to interpret that myself. It says, "Short man, I bet." All right. I did a little creative license on some of these things, but that was 90% what they said. Anyway, we were talking about your email, and then Lucky Chewy and StarCraft, and boy, we are very long on a deviant path here. But so, boy, we've talked a lot about things that are not really about you. So I would tell you that there's also maybe other things you can do to make yourself better at poker. If you feel like you love poker and want to get better and want to give it one more shot and really want to see I mean, listen, you have to. You don't include. You say you lose money. You say you haven't had a lot of success and all those other things. But I'd be really curious to know what your sample size is, because if you've only been playing for a year, or even if you've been playing for 5 years, but you play once a month or twice a month, that's really not a lot. If you look even at like our last few weeks of running up sessions, it's very easy to lose a lot. It's very easy to lose very often, and I think that poker can be kind of like a brutally long-term game, especially if you're not great, because just think about, if you think about every single hand you play and compare it to how a better player would play, so I take every hand that I played in my life and I deal them to Phil Ivey instead of myself. How much more money does Phil Ivey make them than I make? I don't know. I honestly couldn't even guess. If you said that I've made, if you say that I've made like 5 million in lifetime cashes, which is true, somewhere around there, maybe Phil Ivey has 7 million, maybe he has 10 million, I don't know. If he plays the exact same events as me, literally just takes my seat in every single spot that I was in and plays them, I have no idea. It's such a hard thing to say, but obviously he makes more, is the point. We're going to call here. We could also check raise, but I think calling is just fine. We have ace high. Why should we check raise? I don't think it makes a lot of sense. Call. But if you take somebody who's worse, all right, well, I had a point for that. Close to turning our gut shot. We did turn second pair, though, which I guess is something. So if it goes check, I'll like our chances. If he bets, I will dislike our chances. But he bets 1,200, which is probably not enough to get me to fold. He could have hands like 3-5. He could have hands that are just like pocket sevens, I guess, which would suck. But we're getting a pretty good price if he has a hand like 2 sevens to hit an ace 5 or a 4. Let's see a river card. Dollar. Queen, not quite there, but I'm pretty happy that we'll check and maybe we'll win. It's possible that this might happen. If he bets here, I'm probably just going to fold. I mean, if he bets like 1,200, I don't know what I would do. I guess I'm folding. I don't really know. Tanking makes me even more curious. If he tanks and bets 1,200, that's very weird. Ace and 4. I very reasonably played pocket sixes there, generally speaking. But we actually don't... I don't think we made any mistakes given his actual hand on the... I mean, on the turn, we're getting 5-1. I think that's fine. Not that we win that hand too often with anything besides an improving card, but I think it's okay. Do I love it? No, it was probably right on the edge of being fine. If he bets like 1,800, I'm going to fold on turn, I think. Maybe. But I think we played it fine, all in all. Anyway, my point is that if you look at all your decisions, and I hand all my decisions to a player who's only been playing for a year, they do significantly worse, right, than I would do, just because there are going to be so many decisions that I'm going to make differently than you are, and there's a very good possibility that I could hand all of my decisions to somebody who is a new player, and they could not even make money; they could lose money. It's possible. I think I'm going to bet bigger here rather than smaller, because I think our opponent is more likely to have a connecting straight draw type of a thing, and I don't think he's going to fold here too often. If he raises, I'm going to be very concerned because it was a limp pot preflop, so there shouldn't be a ton of reason for him to just come after us here. Let's see. Maybe I bet a little bit too big. I'm sure we had the best hand. I wish we had bet a little bit smaller, I guess, but all in all, I'm not too upset about that. So my point to your question, Steven, from Colorado, is that you have to give it some time. Like, you really need to spend a lot of time on poker to really get results out of it. It's not a thing that just comes instantly. Yes, there are people who are naturally gifted at poker, the Junglemans, the Phil Ivies, the Negranus, the Stu Ungers. There are lots of guys who are just naturally more talented at poker than the next person. And then there are lots of people who have game-playing minds that get into poker and then are obviously better at it than other people, which is where I think I kind of fall into that. I started playing games when I was like 3. There's videos of me playing Wheel of Fortune on like an Atari when I was like 3 or 2 or whatever it was. Debriz runs it out. Gonna need some help here with his 2 queens. Or else Go Kick Rocks is kicking rocks. Damn it, too late. Missed out an opportunity there. But But yeah, I think poker is a very long term game, and you really can't demand immediate results out of it, even if you're talking about a year or two. And if you're enjoying it, then stick with it. I encourage you to stick with it and play where you can, when you can. Make more friends, post more hands, post some hands on my wall that get you in trouble on Facebook.com/J Carver Poker. Just saying. Just saying. You can if you want to. Hell, you can even tweet me hands if you really, really want to. This is going to be a Monday only thing. I'm not gonna respond months later. But you can tweet me if you want. At Jason Somerville on Twitter, and send me a hand you've been struggling with. I would prefer you post it on Facebook, because then everyone can see it and chime in. But if you must, Twitter is alright. So yeah, I think I spent enough time talking about your question, but you had some good things in there. We had some nice little deviations and permutations, and that's right. That's what we did. We had some divergent, interesting paths, and I enjoyed it. Thank you for your email. And I hope you do stick with it, because, if, I don't know, some people have asked me if obviously I'm very appreciative that poker has done some amazing things for me. Oh, just 10 far offsuit. Oh, he's got some equity. He'll need some help here, it appears. Not quite, I'm afraid. Poker's obviously done some amazing things for my life, and I'm very appreciative for all of that. And it's a game that I'll always love, because there's complexities and intricacies to poker that I just find very interesting and very fascinating. And I think there are always new things to find out. There's always new angles to look at, and there's always a new way you can dissect a hand, or and even if you just take that out entirely, there's always different characters you'll meet and different experiences you'll get to have. And the world of professional poker is an interesting, bizarre one in a lot of ways. King 10 should have called way quicker, I think, against a guy who just shoved 4-10 offsuit. King 10's looking pretty good, but obviously not in this particular spot. So I obviously it's not the same path that you're on as an amateur from Colorado, but poker, even as an amateur, there's a beauty to the game of poker that it's both like a universal language that people from Belarus and Latvia and all across the world, Senegal even, actually I doubt Senegal. There are probably not too many Senegalese running up warriors out there. Is that right? Is it Senegalese? Senegalese? You guys can't see me writing, but is that how you say it? Senegalese? I don't know. Actually, there's no way I missed an E. Senegalese? I have no idea. I might have been spelling that wrong. Anyway, this is a scary open for us. I'm actually going to make it 800. I'm a little scared here. We could actually just limp. I'm scared because the Briz could just give us the fucking business here. Lots of guys can just give us the business here. Against the limp, you're just asking for him to put us in the cage. If this is not a strong call, this is just asking. This is donating money, because with the setup that you're putting in here, you're making it too easy for this guy just to say, I'm all in. Like, I don't know for sure. He could have done this anyway just against our single open. But, yeah. This guy got us in trouble here because he kind of induced this by calling, in my opinion. Or he at least made this much more likely to happen by calling behind us. So, not my favorite call I've ever seen by player 4352. Hey, at least we saved 100 chips there. I don't know if I had a great point. I was kind of just reminiscing generally as to life and poker and whatnot. So I guess I'm going to delete your email now. I don't want to delete it. It was so nice, but I don't know what else to do with it. When I auto-print them all, it prints all of them that I haven't read yet. I don't know. This is a brand new world. Scary new world. All right. Keeping it short. All right. Keeping it short. Dear J Carver, watched your heads-up game against Chris Moneymaker, your idol. I don't dislike the guy, but, idol, that's a little strong. How did you get involved in that type of event? Will there be another event like that sometimes this year? Regards, Nick. Well, thanks, Nick. I like Chris. Chris seems like an awesome guy, and he played really well in our match. Actually, it was kind of funny because I had never met Chris before. I mean, I had talked to him at the table actually in London. I was just telling you guys about. I had met him then, but it wasn't like a, hey, I'm Jason Somerville, nice to meet you. It was like a, hey, Jason. No, I didn't actually. I had no idea he knew who I was or not, and I actually assumed he had no idea who I was, to be honest with you. And when we I don't know if it was at the party that we drew the matches or if it was at the actual like day of the event, but he told me he watched my videos like all the time. And I was like, oh my god, that's awesome. Chris Moneymaker watches my videos. So I think we're actually just going to be all in here. This guy's probably raise folding often enough, and we have a pretty good hand here with ace-6 of clubs. I think we can just raise. This guy's going to raise fold decent amount of time. When he does call, we have ace-6 of clubs. Run the cards, boys. I think this will work often enough. Already liking our chances because he took a little while before calling. Gonna need some aces or puppy dog feet. Looks like sick read, by the way, by me that he was weak here. On point. Hey, we made it to pair status, so we lost the flip. Wrong pair, I'm afraid. I think that's fine, though, all in all. Obviously, I don't love it. And I don't always do that there, but I think he's going to raise fold often enough. He did make it like 1,080, which is a little weird, but I think it's all right. All in all. So, do we want to shove here or... I think mathematically it's definitely a plus EV shove. I'm going to fold now because it took so long. I don't want to tank forever and then shove. Blinds go up in 4 minutes. Yeah, we definitely should have shoved here with 4 minutes left to go. We do have 4,700 though. So if you look at the math on our reshove there, I wonder. I mean, you can look at it and say, okay, so he's put 1,000 in and has like 5K left, so or whatever it was. I think if you look at the math of all of it, he has to be opening, he has to be raised folding some percentage of the time for it to be fine. Obviously, he has to be raised folding sometimes. If he's always raised calling them, or obviously should just be folding. And maybe I misinterpreted that I thought there was a chance, but there's no way to know. Maybe this guy is always raised calling, and what we've seen so far, I thought that there would be a good chance he would raise fold, but king and queen certainly going to be good enough to go with unless something crazy happens. If this guy folds, I'm pretty sure we're all in no matter what. So I think I'd rather just shove than min raise fold. We really could use these 900 chips. It represents a lot of our stack, and the blind's going up soon. I think I'd rather shove than min raise. Get to see a flop, don't flop a pair, and then potentially lose the pot. So that's what we did. Pretty sure I'm going to shove here again if it folds to us with this hand. I think this time, though, if someone does open, I'll at least potentially consider folding. I don't think I'll fold to the cat avatar if the cat avatar raises here, though. I mean, you would think that... Has this guy shown down any hands? I don't really recall, but I think ace-8 is good enough against it's 2014. I mean, how is this... Is there really a chance that this guy is... only raised with 14K, is only raising with nutted hands? I guess it's possible. Oh. All right. Chop up those blinds and annies. That's right. Give me my share with my ace and 8. That's right. Put this up to right under 6K. So there we go. 10 big blinds just in time. Just in time for the 300-600 level, which should be starting momentarily. Let's pull... Oh, yeah. So your question about Chris Moneymaker. How did I get involved in that type of an event? They invited me and said, hey, do you want to put up 25K to play this event? And I said, sure. Actually, I think it was 20K, to be honest. And I said, sure. And then they let me in. That was that. And will there be one of those this year? I actually don't know. I hope they do. It was great. And also, now that I live here, I'd have a huge edge. I mean, comparatively, huge. No one has a huge edge in that event. But I would have a nice edge. I would be living down the street. I would feel great. Last time I didn't even eat the day of the match because the room service that we ordered the night before didn't show up, and I wasn't in my perfect mental focus state last year. I would love to play that event. I did a video blog, actually, if you want to look for that. It was actually pretty cool. You can actually, I think Daniel's in it, a bunch of people are in it. I think if you look up NBC Heads Up J Carver, is that enough? Yep, if you look up NBC Heads Up J Carver, you can find that video that I posted last year, kind of like my behind the scenes video blog, that kind of thing from that tournament. so you can see what my experience was like last year in that. But I don't think they've done invites yet, or have officially even announced that it's even going, or even unofficially announced. I'm not sure if they're running it, but last year they ran it. It was like 2 weeks from now, but it was canceled. I mean, it was over for sure. And then NBC picked it back up because they needed the programming because of like the writers' strike, or there was some sort of like an event that made them need that kind of content. And I'm not sure that will be the case this year, but I hope it is. And I'd love to see poker content come back in America, but I have a feeling that I'll be the one creating the content for me to be on for poker in America for a while. But I think if you wait 5 years, there'll be bigger platforms that I would love to be on. I mean, I've been invited to some TV cash games in the last like few years. Okay, some is too strong, but I was invited to one that I couldn't make, and I would love to play though in all of these things. They just have to invite me and run them on TV. That's all it takes for me to be in there. All right, so I guess this is going to be one Mondo video. I guess that's the plan. This will just be one Mondo long video for the fans. Whatever. Get started off this week right with a nice 4-hour video. 10 and the 4. Okay. Blinds will be going up right now after this hand, so right in time for our big blind. That's a little unfortunate. I think we were playing as fast as we could play. I don't think we tanked at all. But when the blinds are about to come up, I would have wanted to act as fast as possible to increase the chances of us not hitting the extra big blind. But that's very tiny edges right there. That's pretty sharp if you're planning out the speed of your under the gun plus 3 folds so as not to hit the big blind at one level higher. But there are plenty of people that think that way. All right, let's pull another one of these digital Dear J Carvers. Oh, a Dear J Carver poem. Boy, you might want to. Oh, this. No, you're not. You're in Europe. You couldn't win the. You probably weren't coming to Jersey for this UFC event. I'm gonna wait to see this hand, of course, because this could be the one. It's not the one. We're not calling all in here. A poem. I have not pre-read it. We'll read it together. That's right, Bill O'Reilly style. Fuck it, we'll do it live. With angry hand gesture included. Oh, you're in bad shape with your King Jack. Very bad shape, I'm afraid. King and Queen. Nope. GG. Damn, I can't even see the camera with this thing up. I hope I got it right. You better, J Carver. All right, a poem in honor of the legendary poker player, J Carver. He wakes up whenever he wants. He does voices from angry nerds to Italian ants. I don't say aunts like wants. Unfortunately, Long Islanders say ants like the bugs, not aunts, but I appreciate what you did there. He wakes up whenever he wants. He does voices from angry nerds to Italian aunts for you. He starts his day glee and perky, but not before he has had his turkey. His videos are a daily task. What are these videos like, you may ask? They are like cookie dough in Ben and Jerry. They are like private time with Halle Berry. Are they, though? They are like cages when you see a cat. That's a reference only a true run-up warrior would get. His goal is to earn 10G, mixed with stories about UFC. You might think he must play like a nit. Nope, he just fucking drills it. Knit it? Okay, I guess you could see what you did there. I'm all in here, by the way. I could go on and on and on, but I know J Carver doesn't like his emails to be too long. So I end this poem with sheer respect for the man who makes my day perfect. Aww. Let's see if we can hit a jack or a king. We just read a poem, for Christ's sake. Give the kid a king or a jack. Wow, no king or jack for anyone here. Damn it. Sincerely, Matt. And then you wrote the H-I-J-S part, which I cannot say. Matt, though. I got that part right. That Dutch guy. Yes. Thank you for your email, actually, despite that it didn't let us win with our king and jack against the guy who called with 6-9 suited. Hey, it was a great poem. It was probably the best poem we've ever got so far. I think that's probably true. So we didn't run it up today. I think we played pretty well, though, all in all. The ace-6 of clubs hand was obviously the one that we lost the most amount of chips on, but I think that's fine. You know, I don't love it, but it could have been bad. But even if it is bad, even if he only has like 4s plus and never folds, and then he has, you know, if he has king queen suited and whatever else in there, boy, this guy is going to town. Don't let us see the queen 9 win right before we end the video. Oh, you guys can't even see. Oh my god. That's what just happened here. That's what just happened here. The guy's going to have 30K and win the tournament. Anyway, thanks so much for watching as always, guys. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of something different, some dastardly tournament Mondays. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought and what you'd like to see next. And don't forget, if you want to win yourself a pair of sweet UFC 169 tickets. That's right. With me, we're going to go all together. 52 Run-It-Up Warriors in our own section, taking over the Prudential Center in Newark. All you have to do is get yourself to Newark, and that it would be, all you have to do is promise that you can get yourself to Newark, and then write me an email, dearjcarver@gmail.com, subject, something about UFC 169, and then send me a picture, poem, the story, your favorite Dear J Carver story. I don't know. You can send me an impression of me if you want. I'm giving you plenty of ideas here. Do a video of an impression of me, a jingle about how much your wife hates my saying bitch all the time. You can do whatever you want. It's not about the gender. It's a gender-free word. It's 2014. Get over it. And yeah, I think I think that's about it. So thanks so much for watching as always, guys, and I will see you back for more tomorrow. Peace.